Alameda County, California has become one of the first counties in the entire country to ban landlords from being able to use criminal background checks on tenants. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have an interesting story for you today, and once again, it's coming out of California, specifically Alameda County, California. So Alameda County is in the Bay Area, so that should let you know what the politics of this whole issue are right there, okay? We basically have a bunch of far left-leaning progressives who believe that, oh, it's wrong that landlords are using criminal background checks to exclude tenants. Well, you know what? These people are idiots. They are complete idiots. They don't know what they're talking about. This law is stupid, and it's only going to hurt not just landlords, but the good tenants as well. And I'm going to tell you exactly why, because you know what? This is a ridiculous thing. Them thinking for any reason that landlords should be forced to rent to people with criminal backgrounds? No, it's dumb. It's absolutely dumb. You know what? Criminal background checks do so many things to help protect landlords from awful tenants. And in particular, you know what I like to look at? I like to look at people who have theft on their criminal history, okay? I like to see people who have fraud on their criminal history. Do you want to be renting your, property, which is worth hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in California, right? You want to be lending out here. You can go in here and live in my $2 million home, but you have a fraud and a theft conviction. No, of course not. Oh, you have a conviction for property damage. Yeah, that's what I want up in my property. A person who has been convicted of property damage. No, of course not. Or, oh, I got a person here and they are a gang member and they have multiple convictions for drug offenses. So I want somebody selling drugs out of my property, huh? Yeah, sounds like a great plan. Oh, everybody deserves a second chance. Well, you know what? You put them up in your house then, okay? You never hear about any of these stories of these people who vote for this garbage talking about, oh yeah, I want this person with a criminal background living next to me. Of course not, because they know that they live in some little enclave somewhere where they're safe, where they think they're safe, okay? But you know what? If it was up to me and I was like a multi-billionaire, I'd buy the house right next door to all these people and I'd just fill it up with a bunch of horrible criminals and be like, hey, this is the law you passed, so this must be what you want, right? So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like, subscribe button, maybe leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. What do you think of them banning landlords from being able to use criminal background checks for prospective tenants? Do you think this is going to turn out good, or do you think this is going to turn out bad, and exactly why? Leave a comment down below. Anyway, let's get into this article and see what it says. This article is coming from The Independent, but it's being republished on Yahoo, and it says, California County passes law stopping landlords from conducting criminal background checks on renters. Okay, let's see if the article gets into the details. California's Alameda County has become the first in the country to pass a law against landlords conducting background checks on renters. On Tuesday, Alameda County's Board of Supervisors in the San Francisco Bay Area voted to adopt the Fair Chance Housing Ordinance. The law prohibits landlords in private and public housing from using criminal records when considering prospective tenants. In a tweet, the East Bay Housing Organization said that the law was passed in a 4-0 vote, with one board supervisor abstaining. Yeah, it was never even an argument. They all agreed. 4-0 vote, okay? No votes in opposition to this. Nobody thought that this would be a bad idea. Okay, this is dumb. This is so dumb. And you know what? I hate it. I hate the fact that, simply put, if you wanted to be a landlord in this sort of place, which, I would have already long since given up. I would have gave up a long time ago, right? But let's say that there's still a few good landlords out there. Well, now your hands are tied. Your hands are tied and you're screwed. So my recommendation, and this is the same recommendation I make in all of my videos, right? Sell. Okay, invest somewhere where they treat you right. Don't invest in a place where they treat you like you're a criminal because you're renting the property out. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your money. Yes, the appreciation was great. Oh my goodness, if I had to hear that one more time. Oh, the appreciation, nowhere else it can match what I got in the Bay Area. Yeah, well, once you're stuck with some tenant in your property losing tens of thousands of dollars, you're going to wish that you had made a different decision, okay? So, fair chance housing is a common sense public policy solution. Board of Supervisors President Keith Carson was quoted as saying in a statement to CBS News. Alameda County Supervisor Dave Brown said, "I am grateful that my colleagues voted for the Wilma Chan Fair Chance Housing Ordinance. Wilma Chan and I have been strong supporters of removing discrimination and providing the support formerly incarcerated residents need for successful re-entry." You know, I wonder if these people know what they're even talking about, okay? They have in their minds this image of, oh, well, somebody 20 years ago got a DUI and they got rejected to live in the rental. No, that's a bunch of garbage. That's a BS story that people like to, spread to try to garner sympathy, right? The truth of the matter is that we have people with very serious recent convictions for very serious crimes. Some of them violent, some of them not violent, but still very, very negative for landlords. And these people, right, it should be up to the landlord whether they allow that person in the property or they don't allow the person into the property. I've already told you about the examples of somebody who has convictions for theft and fraud, right, or property damage. But, there's so many little things that you could look at and be like, hey, maybe someone else will have to rent to this guy because, you know what, I'm not doing it. And that is a consequence of you committing the crime, okay? Nobody's saying that you don't deserve to have somewhere to live, right? But it's going to be harder for you with that conviction, especially the more recent it is. Okay, so, like I said, I believe in giving people second chances, but you have to prove first that you have changed. And if the conviction is extremely recent and for something extremely serious, well, guess what? I just can't take your word for it. That's a bunch of garbage. So if I even have a sneaking suspicion that something isn't right, I'm going to just find a better tenant. So if we have to use different procedures in order to get rid of these bad tenants, that's exactly what landlords are going to do. They might still do criminal background checks, even when it's against the law, and just face the penalties instead, because you know what? The penalty is probably cheaper than paying hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of property damage and lost rent, okay? So paying a couple $1,000 fine isn't going to bother a lot of landlords. The law is expected to be a significant move in curbing discriminatory practices in housing formerly incarcerated people. Advocates say that Alameda is the first county in the U.S. to broadly prohibit this practice, though a few cities have passed similar measures, and at least 2 counties have adopted partial restrictions, reported The Guardian. The law will, however, require a second vote in January to be formally adopted. It will apply to the unincorporated parts of the county, which include San Lorenzo, Castro Valley, Sunol, Fairview, and Ashland. The cities of Oakland and Berkeley, which are part of Alameda County, which have previously passed municipal laws banning criminal background checks for housing. So yeah, Oakland and Berkeley have already passed these laws, so they're just bringing the rest of the county up with those 2 cities. Okay, so this stuff isn't surprising. Like I said, we're not getting shocked and surprised. The thing that I don't want to see, though, is these sort of laws spreading to other places outside of California, okay? We started seeing a lot of the proposals that are being given in California here in the Midwest, and that's insane. It's absolutely insane to think that, hey, people are so just out of their minds, right? They're unwilling to listen to what the landlords have to say. Let me ask you a question, and this is something very, very important, okay? And this is the same question that I ask all the time, right? Will this new law, will it increase the supply of housing or decrease the demand for housing, right? So if it does neither of those 2 things, right, it will not help make housing more affordable, period. And if that's the case, especially in an area like the Bay Area, then it's useless. It's an absolute useless law. There still will be a shortage of housing. It won't be any easier for incarcerated people to find housing, or other low-income people to find housing, okay? Or formerly incarcerated people, I should say. The only thing it will do, it's a feel-good measure. It's a feel-good measure for these county supervisors who really think they're going to make a difference when they're not. They're absolutely not going to make a difference. You know what would help formerly incarcerated people more? If they allowed them to build some trailer parks out there in Alameda County, okay? Just if they said, hey, you know what, we're going to take this empty land out here in the county and we're going to allow as many people to build trailer parks. We're not going to put any zoning regulations on it or make them put solar panels or some stupid crap. We're just going to let them plop some trailers down here in the county, so that we can provide thousands and upon thousands of cheap rental units, okay? But they're not going to do anything like that. They're not going to make it cheap and easy to build new housing, which would actually make it easier for people who are formerly incarcerated to find housing. No, instead, they're going to put all these new rules and regulations on developers, landlords, and anybody who, helps provide housing. And basically, they're going to just be like, no, I'm not doing that. That's ridiculous. So that's the end of the story, okay? Let me know what you think of this whole nonsense down in the comment section below.